The Colbys didn't just bring wealth, power, and ruthless family drama to TV. It also hid darker truths behind the glamour. From mysterious illnesses to shocking comebacks, the cast's real lives took unexpected turns. Let's take a look at what really happened to them after 41 years. Charlton Heston as Jason Colby. Charlton Heston was born on October 4, 1923, in Wilmette, Illinois. At 62 years old, he played Jason Colby, the ruthless oil empire patriarch in The Colbys. His commanding presence gave the series its authority, the same force audiences had already seen in epics like Ben-Hur and The Ten Commandments. But away from the screen, the man who ruled the Colby dynasty fought to protect his own home. In March 1944, he married actress Lydia Marie Clark, a union that would last an astonishing 64 years. Hollywood fame constantly pulled him across the world while Lydia quietly held their family together, raising their children Fraser and Holly while he filmed massive productions like Planet of the Apes. Friends later admitted that the pressure of fame, politics, and constant public attention nearly broke their marriage more than once, yet Lydia refused to leave his side. Then came the slow collapse no hero could defeat. Heston endured hip replacement surgery in 1996, then faced prostate cancer in 1998, which he survived after radiation treatment. In 2002, he delivered a haunting message to the public. He was showing symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. By 2005, those close to him revealed he sometimes struggled even to stand. Finally, he died on April 5, 2008, at his Beverly Hills home at the age of 84, with Lydia beside him after more than 6 decades of marriage. Reports later confirmed that pneumonia combined with the progression of Alzheimer's disease ended the life of one of Hollywood's greatest icons. His funeral at St. Matthew's Episcopal Church in Pacific Palisades drew hundreds of mourners, including major stars and political leaders, before he was cremated and his ashes returned to his family. By the time of his death, Heston had built an estimated $40 million fortune, leaving behind a towering legacy in film history. John James as Jeff Colby. John James was born on April 18, 1956, in Minneapolis, Minnesota. At 29 years old, he played Jeff Colby, the handsome but conflicted heir to the Colby fortune in The Colbys. His performance turned Jeff Colby into one of the most recognizable characters of 1980s television drama. Yet the man behind Jeff Colby lived a quieter and far more complicated life. In 1989, he married Denise Ellen Coward, the Australian beauty who had once been a Miss World runner-up. Their relationship seemed like a fairy tale Hollywood union, but fame and constant career uncertainty created tension inside the household. John struggled to escape the shadow of Jeff Colby, appearing in projects like Haunted by Her Past while trying to keep his marriage and family stable. The pressure of maintaining relevance in Hollywood created its own emotional strain. As the television landscape changed in the 1990s and 2000s, James gradually stepped back from leading roles and accepted smaller appearances, including his return to daytime television in All My Children. During those years, he focused more on family life, supporting his daughter Laura James, who shocked audiences by winning America's Next Top Model in 2012, and watching his son Philip join the United States Air Force. In 2026, John James is 70 years old and still occasionally appears at television events and reunions, celebrating the golden age of primetime soaps. Over decades in television, he quietly accumulated an estimated net worth of around $5 million, a modest fortune compared with Hollywood legends, but one built on a career tied forever to a single, unforgettable character. Ricardo Montalbán as Zach Powers. Ricardo Montalbán was born on November 25, 1920, in Mexico City, Mexico. At 65 years old, he played Zach Powers, the calculating business rival who challenged the Colby empire in The Colbys, 1985 to 1987. His commanding performance added gravitas to the series. Unlike many Hollywood stars, Montalbán's private life centered around a remarkable marriage. In 1944, he married actress Georgiana Young, the half-sister of Hollywood legend Loretta Young. Their relationship lasted 63 years, producing 4 children and becoming one of the longest marriages in the film industry. Yet the final years were heartbreaking as Georgiana developed multiple sclerosis, leaving Montalbán devoted to caring for her until her death in 2007. Behind his confident screen presence was a devastating physical struggle. During the filming of Across the Wide Missouri in 1951, Montalbán suffered a severe spinal injury when he was thrown from a horse and crushed during a stunt. He hid the pain for decades, continuing to work in productions like Escape from the Planet of the Apes and Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. By 1993, the damage forced him into a wheelchair, yet he continued acting and public appearances despite increasing health complications. Ricardo Montalbán died on January 14, 2009, at his home in Los Angeles at the age of 88. Doctors later confirmed the cause was congestive heart failure, the final chapter after years of physical decline. He was buried at Holy Cross Cemetery in Culver City, California, leaving behind a legacy that spanned more than 70 years of film and television. By the time of his death, Montalbán had accumulated an estimated $20 million fortune, but his greatest legacy remained the dignity and resilience that defined both his life and career. Katharine Ross as Francesca Colby. Katharine Ross was born on January 29, 1940, in Hollywood, California. At 45 years old, she played Francesca Colby, the elegant yet mysterious matriarch at the center of the Colby Empire in the Colbys. Her calm authority gave the series emotional weight, yet Ross's real life looked nothing like the composed woman she portrayed. She married 5 times, a shocking pattern even by Hollywood standards. Her first marriage to actor Joel Fabiani collapsed after only 2 years. The second, with John Marion, also ended quickly. Then came cinematographer Conrad Hall, followed by Gaetano Tom Lisi, a technician she met on the set of The Stepford Wives. Each relationship ended in divorce, leaving Ross emotionally exhausted before she finally married actor Sam Elliott in 1984. Even that marriage faced a terrifying crisis in 2011, when their daughter Cleo Rose Elliott reportedly attacked Ross with scissors during a violent episode that forced the actress to file a restraining order against her own child. During the years after the Colbys, she stepped away from constant Hollywood exposure and focused on quieter work, appearing with Sam Elliott in Conager, and later making a memorable appearance in the cult film Donnie Darko. The decision to step back from major roles reflected not a fading career, but a deliberate escape from the chaos that had defined much of her earlier life. As of 2026, Katharine Ross is 86 years old and lives a relatively private life with Sam Elliott, her longest and most stable partner after decades of turbulent relationships. She occasionally appears at special events and interviews celebrating classic cinema, while their shared career in film and real estate has built an estimated combined net worth of about $20 million. Ivan Bonar as Henderson. Ivan Bonar was born on October 31, 1924, in New London, Iowa. At 61 years old, he played Henderson, the loyal and watchful aide inside the powerful Colby household in the Colbys, 1985 to 1987. Though his role was smaller than the central family members, his steady presence added quiet realism to the world of power and wealth surrounding the Colby dynasty. Bonar spent most of his career as a reliable character actor, often appearing in supporting roles rather than leading parts. Over the years, he appeared in films and television productions such as MacArthur, 1977, and the thriller Tag: The Assassination Game, 1982. Directors valued him for his calm screen presence and professionalism, allowing him to build a steady career through dozens of small but memorable roles. But unlike many of the glamorous stars around him, Bonar's career remained largely in the background of Hollywood. He continued working quietly through the 1980s, including his appearances in The Colbys, rarely attracting headlines yet contributing to the fabric of many television productions during that era. Even Bonar died on December 8, 1988, at the age of 64, only a short time after the end of the Colbys. By the time of his passing, his estimated net worth was around $1 million, the modest result of decades of steady work in film and television. Emma Samms as Fallon Carrington Colby. Emma Samms was born on August 28, 1960, in London, England. At 25 years old, she played Fallon Carrington Colby, the glamorous yet unpredictable heiress linking Dynasty and its spin-off The Colbys. Her presence kept the franchise alive. Behind that glamorous television image, Samms carried deep personal scars. As a child, she dreamed of becoming a ballet dancer at the Royal Ballet School. But tragedy struck when her younger brother Jamie died of aplastic anemia. Years later, she transformed that grief into action, co-founding the Starlight Children's Foundation to support seriously ill children. Her personal life, however, became a series of emotional upheavals. Marriages to Bonsi Nagji, Tim Dillon, and John Holloway all ended in divorce before she eventually found stability decades later with journalist Simon McCoy, whom she married in 2021. Then came a frightening health battle. In 2018, Samms suddenly developed Bell's palsy, a condition that temporarily paralyzed part of her face, threatening the career of a woman whose life depended on appearing on screen. She fought through recovery and returned to acting, but the struggle did not end. In 2020, she contracted COVID-19, and the infection left her with long COVID, causing lingering health complications even while she continued to appear on television projects such as General Hospital. In 2026, Emma Samms is 66 years old and remains active in both acting and charity work. She still returns to General Hospital for special appearances while continuing her long commitment to children's medical charities, the cause born from her brother's tragic death decades earlier. Through decades in television and humanitarian work, she has accumulated an estimated net worth of around $10 million, proving that the glamorous Fallon Carrington Colby was only one chapter in a life shaped equally by tragedy, resilience, and compassion. Barbara Stanwyck as Constance Colby. Barbara Stanwyck was born on July 16, 1907, in Brooklyn, New York. At 78 years old, she played Constance Colby, the iron-willed matriarch who secretly controlled the Colby Empire in The Colbys, 1985 to 1986. Even in her late 70s, her commanding presence reminded audiences why she had once dominated Hollywood classics such as Double Indemnity and the television western The Big Valley. But Stanwyck's private life was far darker than the powerful women she portrayed. Her mother died when she was only 4 years old, and her father disappeared soon after, leaving her to grow up in foster homes and boarding houses. In adulthood, she married actor Frank Fay, but the relationship became deeply troubled, with reports of heavy drinking and physical abuse. After their divorce, she later married Hollywood star Robert Taylor, a relationship shaped by studio pressure and constant rumors of infidelity before ending in another painful separation. Her later years were marked by quiet health struggles. Decades of heavy smoking led to chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, and repeated respiratory problems. While still working in television projects such as The Colbys, her health slowly declined. By the late 1980s, heart complications combined with her lung disease, bringing an end to one of the longest careers in Hollywood history. Barbara Stanwyck died on January 20, 1990, at St. John's Health Center in Santa Monica at the age of 82 after suffering congestive heart failure and complications from COPD. She requested no traditional funeral, and according to her wishes, her body was cremated, with her ashes scattered from a helicopter over Lone Pine, California. At the time of her death, the legendary actress had accumulated an estimated net worth of about $10 million, closing the final chapter of a career that had spanned more than 80 films and decades of television history. Maxwell Caulfield as Miles Colby. Maxwell Caulfield was born on November 23, 1959, in Belper, Derbyshire, England. At 26 years old, he played Miles Colby, the charming yet reckless heir of the Colby Empire in the Colbys. His youthful energy brought unpredictability to the series and made Miles one of the most controversial characters in the show. But the real shock in Caulfield's life was his marriage. In 1980, he married actress Juliet Mills, a woman 18 years older than him, and the daughter of legendary actor Sir John Mills. The relationship immediately triggered brutal criticism from Hollywood and the media, who predicted the marriage would collapse within months. Instead, the couple stubbornly proved everyone wrong, raising a blended family that included Juliet's children Melissa and Sean. The constant public scrutiny tested their relationship for years, yet they refused to separate. The deeper wounds came from Caulfield's youth. When he was 15 years old, his stepfather threw him out of the house. Homeless and desperate, the teenager survived by working as a nude dancer at London's famous Windmill Theatre, a humiliating job he later admitted left lasting emotional scars. Even after gaining recognition through films like Grease 2 and his role in the Colbys, critics mocked the failure of Grease 2, creating another painful chapter in his career that pushed him back towards stage acting. In 2026, Maxwell Caulfield is 67 years old and continues working steadily in theater, television, and independent film while living in the United States after becoming a naturalized citizen in 1991. His long and controversial marriage to Juliet Mills remains one of Hollywood's rare, enduring relationships despite decades of public criticism. Through decades of stage and screen performances, Caulfield has accumulated an estimated net worth of around $10 million. Ken Howard as Garrett Boydston. Ken Howard was born on March 28, 1944, in El Centro, California. At 41 years old, he played Garrett Boydston, a powerful corporate figure entangled in the ruthless business world of the Colbys, 1985 to 1986. His confident screen presence strengthened the show's political and corporate intrigue. But Howard's private life moved through several emotional storms. He married actress Louise Sorel in 1973, yet the relationship collapsed within 2 years. His second marriage to writer Margot Lederer lasted longer, but eventually ended in 1991. Stability finally arrived when he married stunt performer Linda Fetters in 1992, becoming stepfather to her 3 children. During these years, he also became a respected industry voice and later served as president of SAG-AFTRA. Then came a series of brutal health battles. In 2000, he underwent a kidney transplant, saved by a donor who was a close family friend. Years later, another devastating diagnosis arrived: Stage 4 prostate cancer in 2007. Even while fighting the disease, Howard remained active in the industry and continued working, appearing in television projects and fulfilling his responsibilities as union president. Ken Howard died on March 23, 2016, in Valencia, California, just 5 days before his 72nd birthday, at the age of 71, after being hospitalized with shingles while already weakened by years of illness. His passing shocked the acting community because he was still serving as national president of SAG-AFTRA, becoming the first leader of the union to die while in office. By the time of his death, Howard had built an estimated net worth of about $6 million, leaving behind a career remembered both for his performances and his leadership within Hollywood. Tracy Scoggins as Monica Colby. Tracy Scoggins was born on November 13, 1953, in Galveston County, Texas. At 32 years old, she played Monica Colby, the ambitious and calculating daughter of Jason Colby in The Colbys, 1985 to 1987. Her sharp performance gave the show one of its strongest female characters and connected directly with the larger Dynasty universe. Yet her personal life moved in a very different direction. In 1982, she married businessman John Connolly, but the marriage slowly collapsed under the pressure of an unpredictable acting career. As Scoggins' television fame grew through The Colbys, the relationship deteriorated, and by 1988, the couple divorced, leaving her to rebuild her life alone. While her career continued with roles in Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, and later Babylon 5, she never remarried and quietly chose independence over another risky relationship. Another emotional crisis arrived when her mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. Scoggins abruptly stepped away from acting for 3 years to care for her, sacrificing career momentum just as her television popularity was rising. During a period when she could have been pursuing major roles after the Colbys, she instead spent those years at home. As of 2026, Tracy Scoggins is 73 years old and still occasionally appears in genre conventions and television projects connected to Babylon 5, including its animated revival. Though she never chased the constant spotlight of Hollywood again, fans continue to recognize her as the fierce Monica Colby and later Captain Elizabeth Lockley. After decades in television and modeling, her estimated net worth stands at around $5 million, a quiet legacy from a career shaped as much by personal sacrifice as by fame. Stephanie Beacham as Sable Colby. Stephanie Beacham was born on February 28, 1947, in Barnet, Hertfordshire, England. At 38 years old, she played Sable Colby, the cunning, glamorous rival inside the powerful Colby dynasty in The Colbys, 1985 to 1987. Her icy charisma turned Sable into one of the most dangerous characters in the series. But the real drama in Beacham's life unfolded off-screen. In 1973, she married actor John McInerney, a relationship that began with excitement but soon collapsed under emotional strain. Shortly after their wedding, Beacham became pregnant, but during a stage rehearsal she fell violently and lost the baby at 3 months. The stillborn child was later cremated, a tragedy she admitted haunted her for years. Their marriage ended in divorce in 1979, leaving her to raise their 2 daughters. Beacham also fought battles few viewers ever knew about. She was born partially deaf, unable to hear in her right ear, and with only 20% hearing in her left, a disability she had to hide while building a career in theater and television. Then, in 2009, she was diagnosed with skin cancer, and the disease returned again in 2011, forcing another round of treatment. As if that were not enough, in 2016, she publicly revealed she had been raped in her 20s while starting her acting career, a confession that stunned many fans. In 2026, Stephanie Beacham is 79 years old and continues to appear occasionally in British television and theater while sharing her life with partner Bernie Greenwood, whom she became engaged to in 2013. She divides her time between homes in London, Malibu, Morocco, and Spain, still celebrated for a career that has lasted more than 6 decades. With decades of television success and property investments, her estimated net worth is around $25 million, making her one of the most enduring stars to emerge from the Dynasty universe. Claire Yarlett as Bliss. Colby. Claire Yarlett was born on February 15, 1965, in England. At 20 years old, she played Bliss Colby, the intelligent yet vulnerable daughter in the powerful Colby family in The Colbys, 1985 to 1987. Her performance brought a youthful, emotional center to the series and placed her alongside veteran stars like Charlton Heston in one of the most ambitious prime-time soap spin-offs of the decade. Yet life behind the camera moved in quieter but complicated directions. Yarlett grew up between England and Los Angeles, the daughter of cinematographer Anthony Yarlett, constantly shifting between 2 countries and 2 cultures. That unstable childhood pushed her toward acting early, and she eventually landed roles in television dramas such as Days of Our Lives and Babylon 5. While her career never exploded into global fame like some of her co-stars, the pressure of being labeled forever as Bliss Colby forced her to quietly reinvent herself within the industry. Rather than fight Hollywood's brutal typecasting, Yarlett chose a different path. She slowly stepped away from regular acting and moved behind the camera, building a career as a producer. Her transition proved surprisingly successful when one of her short projects, Isabel, won an Emmy Award. As of 2026, Claire Yarlett is 61 years old and lives in Los Angeles, where she continues working as a producer and co-owner of the film company Minted Content, developing film and television projects. Through acting, producing, and creative projects, her estimated net worth is around $2 million, a modest but steady legacy from a career that evolved far beyond the role that first made her known. Kim Morgan Green as Channing Carter. Kim Morgan Green was born on November 28, 1958, in Charlotte, North Carolina. At 26 years old, she played Channing Carter, the elegant outsider whose marriage pulled her into the dangerous Colby dynasty in the Colbys, 1985 to 1987. Her character's sudden arrival added tension to the family drama and made Channing one of the most surprising storylines of the series. Yet her personal life quietly carried its own struggles. Green married Daniel Francis DeFonso, but the relationship eventually ended in divorce, while she was still trying to establish herself in Hollywood. At the same time, she continued working in television dramas such as Another World, and later appeared in projects like Silk Stockings, forcing her to balance an unstable private life with an unpredictable acting career. Instead of disappearing when the spotlight faded, Green reinvented herself. She returned to the stage and musical theater, even performing the demanding role of Roxy Hart in Chicago, proving she could command an audience far beyond soap operas. Later, she moved into choreography and film production while continuing occasional acting appearances, including a supporting role in the inspirational drama Soul Surfer. In 2026, Kim Morgan Green is 66 years old and remains active in theater education and film production, working with the Broadway Theater Project while mentoring young performers. Her career has quietly expanded beyond acting into directing and choreography. Through decades of work in television, stage, and film, her estimated net worth is around $3 million, built from a career that steadily evolved long after the Colbys ended. 41 years after the Colbys first brought the powerful Colby dynasty to television, the lives of its cast have taken dramatically different paths. So looking back after more than 4 decades, which Colbys actor surprised you the most with how their life turned out? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoy revisiting classic TV stars, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more then and now stories.